Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we have a very good problem for you guys called find most frequent vowel and consonant, right? So very good problem. So it says given a string S, right, consisting of lowercase English A through Z, our task, right, is to pretty much find the vowel, right, one of A, E, I, O, U, with the maximum frequency, right, and then find the consonant, right, pretty much all the other letters excluding the vowels, right, with the maximum frequency, right. And our job, right, is to find those two pieces of data, right, and then return the sum of those two frequencies, pretty much, right? So if multiple vowels or consonants have the same maximum frequency, you may choose any of them. If there are no vowels or consonants in the string, consider their frequency as zero, okay? The frequency of a letter X is the number of time it occurs in the string. So that pretty much makes sense. Right, so they've given us all the things that we need to pretty much solve this, right? So we're gonna be given a string, and our job is to essentially find, find the maximum character, the maximum vowel, right? The vowel with the maximum frequency, and the consonant with the maximum frequency, right? It's kind of what it is, right? Pretty much. So, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. What we do, right? Just right, find if it's a vowel, right? So we would need to pretty much keep track, right? So let's go through an example, right? See that we have successes here. We have the output is 6, right? Because the vowels, right? For the vowels category, right? We have U that has a frequency of 1, E has a frequency of 2, right? So the maximum frequency, right? For the vowels category is the 2, right? And for the consonant, which is the other set of things, right? That we would need to keep track of as well, right? Is so S, right, as a frequency of 4, C as a frequency of 2. So the maximum frequency out of the consonants, right, which are not vowels, is 4, right? So that's to return 2, which is the maximum frequency coming from the vowels section, right? Plus the 4 that's coming from the consonant, right? So pretty as simple as that, right? It's the same thing that they're doing here. The maximum free frequency from the vowels is A, and the maximum frequency for consonant, there are none, right? So we return 0, so 3 plus 0 equals 3. So that's kind of how it is pretty much, right? So how can we go ahead and solve this, right? We straightforward way, right? I'm thinking so. We need to keep track, right? So find the maximum values, right? Okay. So how can we find the maximum one, right? So we need to somehow keep track of the how many times each character has occurred in the string, right? So once we have this data, right, we've done multiple problems where we know how to find the frequency of a particular character, how many times a particular character has occurred in the string. So we would need some sort of a hash map or some map to just keep track of the frequency of each character, right? So the key would be the character and the frequency. The value would be the frequency, pretty much, right? So we could easily access it, all one time and know how many times this particular character has occurred in the string, right? So how it would work, right? We would just pretty much we're just thinking it through here, right? So I'm thinking we just look through the string, find for each character, right? Get the frequency, right? After we get the frequency of each character, we do another loop, right? So now uh we would have some sort of a max variable, right? To keep track of those two categories, right? So as we're looping, we can just say is uh that character, right? How many times has it occurred? It has occurred X amount of times, right? Is it a vowel, right? If it's a vowel, then we keep track of the maximum in the vowel section, right? And also if it's a consonant, right? Then we only keep track of it for the maximum in this thing, right? Okay, in the consonant category, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking about it. Right? So this particular example, we could probably go through it real quick, but I think the code would have probably made just will be sufficient. But let's go through it real quick so that it kind of drive the point home, right? So I was gonna say we just put the frequency of each character. We just do a linear loop, and we just capture that piece of data, right? So the S's as if 1, 2, 3, 4. So S4, right? Speed it up real quick. So U has occurred how many times? One time. Okay. C's occur how many times? So looks like 1 to me. E's occurred 2 times. So eyeballing it. yeah, that's it, right? Pretty much, right? So, so that's how once we get that, right? We would just do another linear loop, right? Another linear loop to capture, for example, right? So we have a max uh, for vowels, right? Initially it will be 0, and max for consonants, right? All right, equal to 0 as well, right? We loop through in our key set, right? In the map that we've created. So we check, all right, cool. S, right? Is S a vowel, right? Nope, it's not a vowel, right? It's a consonant. So since it's not a vowel, it must be a consonant, right? So we like, all right, cool. Is it greater, the frequency of this character, right? Is it greater than the maximum so far? Yes, it is. So we could go ahead and switch it right there, right? And then we go into you, we like you a vowel? Yes, you are, right? So are you greater than the maximum so far? Yes, you are. So I change it to a 1, right? And then I go to C. C, are you a vowel? Nope. Are you consonant? Yeah, it must be a consonant, right? So then, are you greater than the max so far? No, I'm not greater, so I just keep it the same because I don't only want the maximum one, right? So I'm doing this, right? And then we see get to E. A vowel, yes. Are you greater than the maximum so far? Yes, you are, right? So I'll change that to 2, and that's how at the end we return a 4 plus, right? So 2, which is for the vowel, and 4 because it says to return the sum of those two frequencies, right? That's how simple uh how we're gonna do it pretty much, right? So that's kind of the whole gist of the algorithm pretty much, right? So we have a map, we have a map. So I'll use this for you guys. Map of integer. Showed you guys why. New hash map. And then we could only also gonna try to do a just a simple loop, right? Just capture some data points. Char array. Okay. So let me quickly just write my val uh is val. So char C return true if any of those conditions are true, right? So A, right, E, K. So A, E, I, O, and a U, right? Pretty much. Okay, so looks good to me. So yeah, so we'll capture the frequency, how many times the characters have occurred, right? So we do map that put for this character and our default C 0 plus 1, right? So we increment the counter, right? Every time we encounter this character in the string, we increment its count, right? So after we do that, what we're gonna do, um, so we can after that we capture, we're good, right? We're in good shape. We could also go ahead and write another linear loop. So now to just go through uh the key set that we have, right? Like that. So only loop through the key sets, and as we're going through, so we said that those max vowels, right, that will be capturing. Okay. Okay, so we do int. Initially, they're 0. So make sure they reset those, right? Yeah. So as we go through, we would check if a particular. So if is val, right? So if it's a val, right, and right. So if it's a val, then we will check, right, if the get C is greater than the current max for vowels, right? Okay. Then if that's the case, then we can go ahead and just set that to it, right? And same thing for here as well, right? So it will be for consonant, right? It'll be that, right? So it will be an else if. So this thing, right? So I'll show you guys another pretty cool trick. So instead of like doing it here, right? So if it's not a vowel, right? And right, if for the vowel category, right? If the max for consonant is if this frequency of this consonant, right, is greater than the current so far, then we set it to this one. It's pretty much the same logic, right? And then we would be in good shape, right? So this should work, right? So it would be max or vowel or whatever it end up being plus the max consonant, right? Then looks good. Let's press run code, right? That works, right? That's pretty good. But we can also, I'm thinking, right? Why not just as we're looping through, right? We're building the frequency, right? We update it dynamically as we're going through the string anyway, right? Just capture the max as you're going. We don't need to have another loop to do that, right? It's kind of not efficient, right? There's a little bit of optimization that you could do, but it's no big deal, right? Same time complexity. So as we're going through, we check these characters about, and it was the same check we just added here. As we're going through, we're updating the maxes accordingly, right? So let's press run. It was good. Let's press submit. Awesome. Got everybody pass all these test cases, guys, right? If you guys found value, you guys understood the thought process, right? So we could also use like a frequency map, a frequency like a array, right? That can pretty much help the beat you like 100%, right? But I think this is good enough. This is very, very clear. In the comment section, you guys understood the thought process. If you guys are new here, subscribe because we'll be doing a lot of other videos just like this one. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.